The national debt has passed a new milestone. If you are into that sort of thing about knowing where the national debt is, I've been told that it really doesn't matter that much when you are citizen of a country that can print its own money. Now, if you are Greece or Spain or Portugal and you're in the European Union, if you wind up with debt like this, your ass is toast, because there's nothing you can do about it. You don't print your money. You're using a universal form of money that 25, 30, whatever it is, other nations are using. So you're screwed. The predators come in and sell off everything that your nation owns, the historical monuments, the art. But here in the United States, BFD, $22 trillion is what we're in debt now. When Trump took over, it was 19 trillion. when he took office on January 20th, 2017. So in 2 years, this freak, this useless man who's destroying everything, has jacked up our national debt by $2 trillion. Do you know what a trillion is? It's 1,000 million. 1,000 million. Or is it 1,000? I'm sorry, it's 1,000 billion. 1,000 million is a billion. 1,000 billion is a trillion. $1,000 billion twice is what this pig has done. Now, the debt, national debt, has been accelerating ever since December 2017, when Trump jammed through his $1.5 trillion tax cut that the Republicans voted for. Anyway, if you're interested, the national debt is the total of the annual budget deficits. The Congressional Budget Office projects that this year's deficit will be $897 billion. Now, I don't know if you remember, it wasn't that long ago, honest to God, it wasn't 16, 18 years ago, when Bill Clinton, the guy who couldn't keep his pants zipped, when he left office, there was no national deficit. There was national debt, but there was no budget deficit. He had 2 years in a row where he balanced out the books. Well, he didn't, but I mean his policies and the policies of the Congress that he worked with gave us zero deficit for a year, spending deficit twice. And it looked like the national debt, the thing that is now up to 22 trillion, there was a chance to pay it down. Actually pay it down. And then George W. Bush came into office, and the first thing he did, just like Trump, gave the wealthy in this country a huge tax cut. George W. Bush did it too. What is the fuck is wrong with these Republicans? These greedhead Christian thugs. Well, I mean, what is it? Anyway, this year's budget deficit will be $897 billion, which is a 15% increase over last year's budget deficit of $779 billion. Isn't it great to be winning all the time? We're just winning so much. And in the coming years, the Congressional Budget Office, nonpartisan, projects that the deficit will keep rising. The budget deficit topping $1 trillion annually beginning in 2022 and never drop below $1 trillion a year budget deficit, 1,000 billion a year budget deficit through the year 2029. Now, much of the increase is going to come from the mounting cost to fund Social Security and Medicare, as that vast generation of baby boomers I think it was like 72 million was the total number of that generation, the boomers, the baby boom generation. And the ones that are still alive, and I guess most of them are. I mean, well, of course most of them are, Mike. That's not my generation. Right? But the boomers, as they continue to retire and draw their Medicare and their Social Security and what have you, it's going to put one hell of a strain on these budget deficits. And that's when the boomers better be paying close attention, because the Republicans, a number of whom are baby boomers themselves, are going to be trying to whack your Social Security and your Medicare. They won't whack the defense budget, but they will go after what is called, well, it's not called discretionary spending. That's something that's not committed. But they will go after Medicare and Social Security. Now, Trump, being the jack-legged freak that he is, he keeps contending that the tax cuts that he gave to the wealthy will eventually pay for themselves by generating faster economic growth, which is bullshit. I mean, we heard that going back to Reagan. Reagan cut taxes and then had to raise them four times, 5 times. These diddle-ass assholes in the Republican Party never mention that, do they? And most economists say that expecting the deficits or the tax cuts that Trump gave to the wealthy and George W. Bush gave to the wealthy, expecting them to pay for themselves, quote, quote, is bullshit. It's not going to happen. But you tell the working stiffs, you tell the 95% of us, the 99% of us actually, that, oh, don't worry, not to worry, it's okay. While the wealthy continue to take and take and take. I just wonder, I wonder how much more the American people are going to put up with. Populations around the planet are saying enough of this bullshit, and some of them are getting violent about it. But the 1%, the 26 human beings, have as much wealth as 3.5 billion human beings. I mean, what the fuck? Come on. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. You have your choice. You can listen to the ranting with the audio podcast or listen and watch me lose control with a video podcast subscription. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.